Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, and this is the first video that I filmed in a really long time. This month I'm going to be participating in a readathon. I'm participating in the Trick and Treatathon. It's supposed to be a play on words from treat and read, and I hope I'm kind of pronouncing that like trick on words correctly. I thought it was a cute idea. It's definitely something different from what I normally do. I usually do the Hocus Pocus readathon, but if you've been here for a while, you know how that panned out for me last year. So we're trying something new this year. Here are the prompts. Trick or treatathon. I think I keep on saying trick and treatathon. It's trick or treatathon. The first prompt is Dracula. Read a book with gay undertones / LGBT plus rep, or read Dracula, or read a Dracula retelling. So each prompt actually has like 3 different options as a prompt, which I really appreciate. Oh, and doubles count. So if I read one for like 2 or 3, it's fine, which I'm glad. All right, so for that I actually chose something that I've had for a while, and it's going to be billed to my library card soon because I've had it for that long. It's Heartstopper Volume 2. I usually try to read something like spooky during October, but this obviously isn't that. It's actually about these 2 boys falling in love. It's definitely a romance between them, and I've read the first one. The first one was very cute, whereas I'm not sure if you heard that on the phone on the microphone, but sorry about that. I live on a very busy street now. But this is a graphic novel romance between these 2 fellows, and I've been meaning to read this for a while. All right, second prompt, Phantom of the Opera. Read a book with a love triangle, or read Fan of the Opera, or read a Fan of the Opera retelling. And for that I have Roseblood by A.G. Howard. I've had this for a very long time. I got this one of the last times I went to BookCon, which was like 1 or 2 years before the pandemic. So I've had this for a while. I got super excited to get it too. Someone was very willing. It was someone I met in line, and it was an Owl Crate like raffle thing, and you like spun the wheel and you won something. I wanted this, I didn't get it, but the person behind me did, and she was gracious. I think, I don't know who their pronouns are, but they were femme presenting, and they were very willing to switch this with me, and I've forgotten your name, but thank you. All right, the third prompt is Creature from the Black Lagoon. Read a book with a cryptid / mythical creature, or a book set around the sea, or read The Lady from the Black Lagoon. And this I actually have a couple options for. I'm actually currently listening to this. I just started today, so I'm counting it for this readathon. The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. It's Gaiman. I don't know why I'm always confused, but it's Gaiman. I started today, and the readathon is actually all month long. It is the 12th, and it ends on Halloween, so I'm counting it since I started it today. And it's actually about a boy who he's a baby at this point. His parents are killed, and he wanders off into this graveyard, and the ghosts there save him from the guy that kills his parents. And a couple of ghosts there take on raising him. And I know a couple other creatures get involved in the story, so which is why I'm counting it. I actually suspect Silas, who is one of the guardians of this little boy, I suspect that he's a vampire. I've actually never read the Graveyard Book. I try to not know anything about a book before jumping in, and I suspect that he's a vampire. On top of the other creatures that are also in the book. And a book set around the sea, we have The Thirsty Mermaids. I've been trying to read this for ages. I keep taking it out because it looks super interesting, only to have to bring it back, and then I take it out again, only to have to bring it back. I do want to read this. We're going to try to read this. And it's basically about a group of mermaids who I suspect want to try to find some alcohol, and so they go on land. That's as much as the story as I know of it. But obviously, because it's about a bunch of mermaids, it's around the sea, so that could also count. All right, the next one is Frankenstein. Read a book written from a villain's perspective, or read Frankenstein, or read a Frankenstein retelling. Ooh, I actually have a Frankenstein retelling. I've forgotten about that. Do I still have it though? I do! I'm not gonna lie, I like super struggled trying to find something, so I like Googled for the longest time, and I found Fairest of All by Serena Valentino, and it's supposed to be from the Evil Queen's perspective. I'm like, well, if anything, this will do. I totally forgot I owned this! The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein. This is an arc I got a couple years ago at a BookCon, and again, I haven't gotten a chance to read it. I wanted to read the original first, Frankenstein first, before reading any retellings. And let me tell you, I didn't like Frankenstein, okay? I know it's a classic. We love Mary Shelley, but I didn't like it. But I can read this. This is an option. I can't believe I forgot about you, friend. Now, I feel like I'm talking really fast, and that's because a lot of times I don't have a chance to film at home anymore because my husband works from home, and he's actually out right now, but he's due back within the next 10 or so minutes, so I apologize if I'm speaking super quickly. We're just trying to crank out this video before he gets home. The next one is Bride of Frankenstein. Read a book featuring an unhealthy relationship, or read Frankenstein, or read a Frankenstein retelling. Oh, so technically, if I were to read this would count for Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein. However, I do actually have an option for this. Then I have The Bridge of Souls. So this is book 3 in the series, and this is about Cass, who has the ability to see ghosts, and her job is to help these ghosts cross over, because when they don't, they kind of like go bad, and then it's a problem for her. But her best friend is a ghost, and she has yet to send him over. And I can understand why she's like hesitant about it, because that is her best friend. But based on what her job is and based on what she knows what will happen to him if he doesn't cross over, the relationship is unhealthy from the get-go. The first book was set in France. France, yes? Scotland. One is set in France and the other one's set in Scotland. And this one is set in New Orleans. The next prompt is The Invisible Man. Read a book featuring a character with special powers, or read a sci-fi book, or read The Invisible Man. And we have Bridge of Souls because Cass has a special power. She can see ghosts. The next prompt is The Mummy. Read a book that's 20 plus years old, or read a book inspired by ancient Egypt, or read The Mummy. And this one I also struggled with. I have 2 choices for this. One is The Lottery by Shirley Jackson. I was able to find an audiobook through Hoopla. And this also has a bunch of other short stories by her. And she passed in the 60s, 1964, I think. Yes? She's been gone for quite a few years. And so all of her short stories are 20 plus years old. And it fits the spooky vibe that I would prefer to read in during the month of October. However, this is the one book that I have in person, at least one that I've been trying to read that fits this prompt. It is The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, a practical guide to the fulfillment of your dreams. I try to listen to a bunch of acting podcasts, especially where I haven't been working a whole lot. If you're new here, I freelance as an actor. And it's been tough for me not being able to perform. And so I've been listening to a bunch of different acting podcasts to kind of like try to fill that void. And somebody, I forget which person, I forget which podcast, but this came highly recommended, and so I am going to attempt to read this. This seems a little too spiritual, I guess is the word I'm looking for what I'm looking for, but we're gonna look into it. But this came out in the 90s, so that does definitely fit the 20 plus year old prompt. Ooh, I didn't mean to throw you, I apologize. The next prompt is The Wolfman. Read a book where a character goes through a transformation, or a book featuring a werewolf. And we have the Thirsty Mermaids. Literally, they transform from being swimming creatures to land creatures because they're trying to get some booze. So they leave their home in the ocean to go on land, and so they transform from having fins to legs. So a literal transformation there. I suspect that some of these will actually have like personality transformation kind of storylines. There's this one book actually that I want to try to read in October, but it doesn't really fit any of the prompts. It's White Smoke by, I see the book, but it's not near me. Tiffany Jackson. I think that's the author's name. I want to try to read that in October, but it didn't really fit any of the prompts, and I suspect if I do read that, that has some sort of, I would imagine that would have some sort of transformation sort of storyline, because it's basically Haunting on Hill House retelling. I want to say that's how it's described. It is a psychological thriller, so I would imagine that there is some transformation there. But in a literal sense, I've chosen Thirsty Mermaids. keep checking to see how much time I've got, because it's been so long I can't gauge it anymore. Because my camera gives you a time limit before it shuts you up. And the last one, The Raven. Read a book with mental health representation, or read a book with a black cover, or read The Raven. I'm sure a couple of these, you know what, Roseblood is technically mostly a black cover, so I suppose if push came to shove, I could use this as a prompt, but I did choose this. I chose Are You Listening by Tilly Walden. Bay is on the run, and then she runs into Lou. This beautiful, haunting story of friendship, loss, heartbreak, and a traumatic revelation about sexual assault culminates, that's the word, culminates in an exquisite example of human connection. If there is sexual assault in this, I would imagine that there will be mental health repercussions from something that traumatic happening to this person. So I believe this will count as a prompt for that. And because we do have LGBT characters in this, it would also count for Dracula. I should have mentioned this in the beginning of the video for Dracula. This seems to be really, really heavy, so I may want to try to read something else. But we're gonna hold on to this right now as that option. All right, so that is the entirety of my TBR for this readathon. Are you participating? Let me know down in the comments below. I know this is round 2, so this actually is a relatively new readathon. I'm excited to actually jump back into BookTube again. Again, if you didn't watch my last vlog, I've been mostly on Book Talk, so if you want to check me out there, I've left that linked down in the description box below. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I guess it's ta-ta for now. Bye, guys.